This is Expert AMA with Po from Palabra. I'm really excited to have her and on the call today to hear more about the tool. It's a no-code email automation workflow platform. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you've got a more slicker version of
You're doing
that. Good. But yeah, basically, like the format for today is we're going to hear a little bit about the story behind Palabra, sort of an introduction to yourself, Po, and then move into a sort of live demonstration of what it can do. And then after that, I think we'll just open up for questions from you guys and take it from there. So yeah, without further ado, I shall pass over to you, Po, to hear more about your story and how Palabra got started.
Great. So first, thank you for inviting me. It's great. I love talking to the no-code community. I'll gladly hear every question or feedback that you have, and you can interrupt me at any time. That will be just great. So I'm Pau. I'm from Argentina. I'm the co-founder of Palabra. My co-founder Karen, she's the one that created the app. She's the developer. I'm like the no-coder of the team. I'm actually I'm one of the two people that can code in our team. Palabra. Oh, hola Paulo. Palabra started actually with a problem Karen had before. We were working together in a different project, but Karen was like trying to get a few concepts and ideas out there and get validation from landing pages, and it was really hard for her to have some sort of way to interact with her users via email. She had to code everything herself. She tried MailChimp, but it didn't completely serve her what she needed. She wanted just to have, I don't know, lead qualification or some simple things to automate, and every tool she tried took a lot of work to get automated, like to get those emails going. So the first idea was I need to create an easier way for emails to be set out automatically, because if not, the only people that end up creating automated workflows are really big companies that have like a team of 5 dedicated to doing an email automation. And then if they want to change anything, it's like a week of asking the dev team to make some changes. Most people, in most companies, transactional emails are only used like for product purposes, and if the marketing team wants to go there and then maybe ask for feedback or something like that, it always takes a lot of time. So our idea was to create the easiest email automation tool possible, and since talking to a lot of users, we launched officially in July or June, I don't remember. And since then, we have been talking to users directly as much as we can. And what we figure out is that, actually, that's when you said the name of what Palabra does, what we figure out is that they don't only need automations, they need a way to move people to move their users or clients from one step of a funnel to the next. That can be for retention purposes, that can be to get new users, for onboarding, whatever it is, or to upsell them. They have users in one step and they want to move them forward. So actually right now we're working on a second version of Palabra, and more on that soon. It's going to be built into the triggers that we have right now. So it's going to include what I'm going to show you today, and have a few more things. We can talk about that later if we have time. But yeah, really excited to give people who can't code a tool that they can really use, that they don't need to create an API connection to automate emails. I don't know if there's something else I should say. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Really perfect. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the tool.
All right, great. Should I go ahead and show it? Great. I'll share my screen. I actually prepared a use case for this AMA, a really simple one, but first I wanted to show Palabra to you in action. And this is actually our real emails, like the emails we send to our new users. Basically what Palabra does is it contains a lot of triggers each trigger means when something happens, a set of emails will be sent. Are you seeing my screen correctly?
Yeah, all good.
All right. So when something happens, a set of emails will be sent, and if the trigger is turned on, then we'll see who received it, who opened, who clicked, and we can actually see a complete list. It may take a while to load because there are a lot of users, but we'll see a complete list of who received it, who clicked, and who opened the email. So what this was the first idea, like creating a simple flow of automation that we can see everyone and who opened, who clicked, etc. What we were trying to do was make automation as simple as possible, as I say, and we thought of this as a Trello board where a task can be moved around. I'm not going to move this one because people will stop getting onboarding emails, but I'll show you if we wanted to create a new trigger, what we'd have to do. This is what it looks like if you are using Palabra for every automated email you need to send. Like we're using it for blog subscriptions, to send emails to people who don't complete their sign up, to subscribers to our video course, whatever we need. Even cold emails, I started using it for that 2 weeks ago, I think, because we're trying to get talking to SaaS users and find out if our new version of Palabra is going to work for them. But basically each trigger, once you create it, let me see if this one is empty. There we go. When you start a new trigger, what you get is this, a condition and a task. Actually, let me delete this. And to start an automation, all you need to do is choose what you want to trigger the email. And we have a lot of integration with as many no-code tools as we could. Webflow, Bubble, Zapier, of course, a few spreadsheets with Airtable and Google Sheets, and each one of them have a condition, like an action the user makes that will trigger the emails. So let's say, for example, we choose Google Sheets. And to connect it, it's just as easy as choosing what spreadsheet you want. Oh, sorry, my internet, I don't think how well it's working. I hope. Like everything always doesn't work in the demo, right? So just choosing a spreadsheet will let you get the data that you have. I'll show you this example actually in a bit. Get the data that you have and send the email to each row on the spreadsheet, and each time a new row gets created, people will receive the next email. Tasks are mostly emails that we're working on SMS, and can also be, the task can also be to wait for a bit. So if you wanted to send a sequence of emails, you can. I'll show you one in action. Actually, you saw one, a really short sequence here. We are sending 2 emails a day apart to ask people about how they're using it, if they need anything. And we do that for almost every triggered email we send. We send at least a couple, so that it's not just a confirmation or just a welcome, but it's also a way for us to reach people and give them a space to reach us. Any questions so far?
All good, I think.
Great. So now I wanted to show you Palabra in action in a way that's actually no code, because we have our app is made with code, and we have connected to Segment or to webhooks directly. So it's not, I don't think it's the use case that you'll need. So I used this demo account that I have to create an example of how a Webflow landing page would look like, how you could use Palabra to automate emails from that landing page. As you can see, it's not a really beautiful landing page. It's just a simple template I picked from Webflow. But the idea was that I wanted to show you, I thought about, like, maybe this is a no-code agency and you have one clear call to action that's all over the landing page. That's to get people to contact you. Actually, I'll put the link here in case you want to see it. How can I go to the chat? Well, the link is bit.ly Palabra site. If you could write it on the chat, Max, please, I'd appreciate it so you can see it for yourself. It's a very simple one with, as I said, with a contact form. And I added also a lead generator here, which is just to give something for free to people that are visiting your site. And then if they're interested, they'll leave their email to receive that something for free. And then you can connect to interested prospects directly. And to do that, I used Typeform, Zapier, and Google Spreadsheets. I could have also used Airtable or some other database, but I thought Spreadsheet was the easiest part. So here's what I think we should do with Palabra. First, the first thing, like the obvious thing, is to send an email when someone contacts us. So there's this contact form. I wanted to show you live how to set up an automation from this contact, a confirmation. So we'll do it here as we speak. And then I'll show you how I thought the lead generation process. And we can make changes to it if we want to. All right, so.
Po, can I just ask, was it bit dot, what came after the dot?
Lee, sorry, L-Y, bit.
And then, okay.
Sorry, the dash Palabra site.
Oh, great, okay, awesome, thank you.
Thanks. So if you wanted to trigger a confirmation email, actually we can erase that and do it from scratch. This is what doing it from scratch would look like. Oh, help me out here, there. So we need to select a Webflow condition. So when a user submits a form, submits the contact form, we'll send them an email. And it's just, I already connected, but it's literally 2 clicks, like saying I accept having Palabra have access to my Webflow account, and then just choosing the site. It's my trendy project. And then we'd have to choose the form name. This is because if we have more than one form in the same page, we need to let Palabra know the name of the form. So I wanted to show you how to look for it. It's pretty simple, but let's go to the contact page. And then here in the form, there, it's called get in touch form. I'll just copy it so to make sure there's no typo. Go back to Palabra and put my form name. I may need to refresh it for it to get the idea that I'm giving it this form name. So once it listens to me there, now I can click on test connection. When I click on test connection, since Palabra is all built with webhooks, which is kind of a Zapier with code between Webflow and Palabra, it's going to start waiting for my data. That means I have to go to Webflow and submit some test data. This is not for every integration we have, but it's when needed to make sure that we are getting on real time. This is the test. I will not receive an email for this, so you can put actually any email account that you want. It can be test@test.com and it will be okay. It just needs to receive some data. Now I'll see it here in Palabra. So now I'm seeing the taste data that I added. Some is from Webflow, like properties from Webflow, but the answers from the contact are here: name, email, and message. And this is the name of the form. That's weird. Wow. If I wanted to copy any of these properties to my emails, I can just click it and it's copied on my keyboard. And then for the task, I can write an empty email for myself, or I can choose a template. I always prefer to choose templates because it's easier. You can see it before choosing it, and once you choose it, it will create the task of the email. So now each time a user submits this form on Webflow, they will get this email. And I can say, hey, name. So it will give them the name that they submitted. Thanks for contacting us, blah, blah, blah. I could make changes for this. We chose to focus on simple emails, like mostly text. You can add images if you want, copying the link. Actually, next week you'll be able to upload images, but not yet. It was a bit harder than we thought. And obviously, simple formatting and links. And if you have an HTML that you want to, like most people when they use like MailChimp, for example, they have the HTML template that they want to use. You can do it as well, choosing this and copy and pasting it. I always prefer plain text. I think it works better for deliverability and a few other purposes. And I like it, like it's a bit more personal. So to make sure I have the input data correctly, I can send myself a test email to my personal email or to my Palabra email. Oops, sorry. I can choose. And what it will do is send me an email so that I can make sure that those fields are correctly put and there's no problem with formatting or something like that. And just like that, I have an automation going. Now I just have to, I just have to turn on the trigger. And it's done. Now each time, actually you can do it, or we can try it live if you want. Each time someone submits the contact form, you will receive, let's check if it's working right. We should receive it here. Oops, did I mark it as done before I read it? Can be, no, here it is. This is telling me that someone submitted my Webflow. Oh, I think I marked it done, sorry. I can send a second one so we can see it received. Where is it? Here. 1:26 p.m., which is now. I received it in a minute later. This is one I was trying before. That's what I got. That's why I got two. Did you try it? Did you get something?
Yeah, I got something.
Yeah, same here. I just tried it as well. Yeah, looks
awesome.
Good.
I'll try to refresh because we should see here on the received column. It sometimes takes a few minutes for the UI to update. That's why I'll refresh to have it sooner. But there we should see our emails. There.
Yeah.
We received it. So it's basically like this. This is like the most basic use for Palabra that we thought about when we started. Like the main solution we're trying to have is to be able to send the basic automations in how long did it take? 10 minutes maybe. But there's a bit more complex things you can do. I've learned a lot from our users from their ideas and their automated flows to get new users, to get their users to do different things in their product or to get feedback or whatever. So I wanted to show you a real short example that actually it's working. So you can try it as well. As you saw here, I don't remember if I showed you, but I added in this Webflow site a lead generator, like it's something that says you can get this for free, and to get it for free you just need to leave us your email. And I did this with Typeform, which is for me a really simple way to use it. I've also used Airtable form for this. If I complete this and leave my email, that means I'm interested. So I'd like to have testing and testing. I'd like interested people to receive directly from me, and here as soon as they get here, that I'm really interested in them. So they'll get this. Hey, your pre-concept is on the way. The idea was to like just put the idea of an app you have, and I'll give you an app idea, since we are a no-code agency. So people will get this email, and that's from this trigger, lead generator from Typeform. The integration process is pretty similar. I just wanted to show you how different things would look like. In this one, I chose to create a simple sequence. I just put 3 minutes to wait. So in case you want to try the Typeform and get the email, you'll get both today. But we could, of course, change it for 2 days, a week. I'll show you that in a bit. If I wanted to change something here, it's just moving cards around. I can change, of course, something in the text, in the subject, in sending a copy to myself maybe, or to a different email. If I wanted to have my Palabra email, I can do that. So I can receive each automated email. If you make changes, it works like Zapier. If you make changes, it will turn the trigger off. So we have to turn it again, but I'll show you what other changes we can do. Instead of waiting 3 minutes, we could wait like for, as I say, for weeks, days, hours, and it's just like that. I'll keep the minutes so we can receive both, the entire sequence. And the rest of the automation process, I thought, was if I'm getting interested prospects and I want to send them an email with the app idea that I thought for them, what I do if I had a no-code agency would be, each time someone submits a form on Typeform, I actually created a SAP that that gives me a second, another row in this spreadsheet. This is actually something, sorry, I didn't mention this. I'm also a teacher full-time. I've worked as a teacher for a bit, and I've used a lot of no-code tools to teach, like mostly to give feedback. And this is where I got this idea, actually. So what this does is each time someone submits the Typeform form, it gives me these rows, and then I manually add what I think would be a great app concept. So I have this idea. You should do something with Glide. Something with Glide. I think it will take 2 weeks. I put these fields here to create a more personalized message here. So each time I manually complete these fields, maybe taking 15 minutes to answer each, people will receive an email with the idea that's really, that's actually for them. It's their name, it's their idea, it's this app concept. I could, of course, improve the copy a bit to make it like more personal, but this will give them their idea and how much time I thought, and it will take just my time thinking about it and not sending each email manually. But since we're making a lead generator and we are giving them their free concept, but also trying to get them to convert, I created a simple sequence that actually is what I would do if I wanted to get more users and had a no-code agency. It's just then tell them a bit about me and what I do, then wait for a bit and ask them for feedback maybe on the concept they got, on what they thought, and each time adding my link to the call to action that I wanted, which is my Calendly link. So trying to get talking to them and understand their needs. And each time in each email, I can choose one link that I want them to click. So I know if X% clicked, that means they are interested in my call to action. So this is basically the whole flow. It's just an idea I have really quick. We can change it. We can do whatever you want. But this is the use case in case you wanted to get more users from a landing page.
Awesome. Thanks so much. That was great. Yeah, I love it. I'll just, I guess, open it up for questions that people have.
Right.
Maybe it's useful to keep your screen on. Thanks for letting us know, Mark. Yeah, maybe it's good to just keep your screen on so that, yeah, if some questions come up, you can maybe show it for real, as opposed to just talking about it. So yeah, who's got a question for Poe?
I'm looking up. Oh, hey, sorry.
Please go, Michael.
I'll go for it.
I was late.
No, it's just a quick one, I guess, on the using Typeform, Google Sheets, etc. with it. I guess for a very simple email automation, I could probably just use Palabra only with Webflow or whatever I'm using, right? And then if I want to have it a bit more sophisticated and have like a database next to it, I can then connect Airtable, Google Sheets, anything like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll leave the complete list of integrations here. There's Airtable and Google Sheets as databases. There's Zapier in case you have your data somewhere else and you want to send them via Zapier. We have Stripe in case you're charging, and MemberStack in case you're using it to get subscribers. Hopin for events. This is something I didn't say. Actually, I didn't show this example because Bubble is really hard for me. I don't know if you've used it, but with Bubble, you can trigger any event. It's like Segment. It works whatever event you want to do on the app. Maybe if you want to have referrals program or to get a discount, like click here and get a discount. We can do like everything, not just form submissions.
Got it. And then how you set it up with the Google Sheet is that whenever you make a change to the submissions where you add your comment, that triggers the update or the email, or when is it actually triggered?
That's a good question, and it's something I didn't really explain. So the trigger will be each time a new row gets added, and I didn't want to maybe it would work if I changed something here, but since I was not sure, what I did was create a second sheet, which is send concept. So once I wrote this down and I know what I wanted to say, what I do is copy it and paste it here. It's actually what I do to send automated feedback to my students. I used to use Zapier for this, Zapier plus Gmail. But it always broke down. I don't know if it's because I'm not a really good Zapier user, but this makes sure that you get the email sent.
Got it.
Oh, and one more thing on the spreadsheet. If I wanted to, what I did with the cold emails, so if as you can see, most triggers are from a specific user action. So it's not used to send, for example, a newsletter to a lot of people if we wanted, or send the same message to all of our users to let them know about new features. And what I do for that is go a bit around it and use Google Sheets, because once you connect, the first time you connect a new sheet, what Palabra does is it will look for every row, and since it's the first time I connected it, it will assume that every row I had was new. So if I have 600 users or prospects or whatever in my list, it will send them all an email or start for them all a sequence. And that's what we do if I want to send feature updates or something like that to our users.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
Pablo.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I missed it, if you talk about this while I wasn't here, but I was wondering if there are any analytics in Palabra. I mean, how can you see how your process and automations and maybe the open rates of, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm showing this empty account. To see analytics, we'll go to our real Palabra account. This is what it looks like if you're sending emails on a trigger that's on for a few days. This is actually a real user onboarding, and we have 365 people that have been sent this email yet. And we have basic analytics who open or who click, but we also have, here, I'll show you something else because it will take a bit to, we also have a list of who received it, who opened it, if they clicked. And one thing I didn't show you, because we're working on having analytics as for each campaigns and not for each user. Right now, what we can see is for what triggers and what users are reacting better to our emails. And we also actually have a way to knowing for a specific users. So this is a list of all our contacts. Each time you trigger a new email, you'll see it here. And I wanted to show you how it looks like if you click on the history of a contact, of a specific contact. This is a new user we had. And since we have segment connected, what we're getting is the information of every action, exactly. If it were, maybe we have it in our new account here. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Well, this is my name actually. And here I am seeing everything I did since I received the first email, which was 11 minutes ago. And then I submitted a form on Typeform, received this email, didn't open, didn't click, and then you'll get like an idea of engagement and open and click rates. This sometimes takes a bit to upload in the UI. That's why I'm not seeing it right away, all the things that I did 10 minutes ago, but I'll see it like in an hour or so.
And is there a way of showing this kind of roadmap of the user through the flow, but in a very in a more aggregate way? Like if I had like this group of users and I want to measure how long it takes them to like open an onboarding email or like to receive a file or anything. Is there a way of doing that, or are you still working on that?
I actually, we're working on it. Something I mentioned briefly when we first started is that we're working on our second version of Palabra, which will be built into triggers. Like triggers right now are only, it's like Savior for emails, but we want it to be a better solution for sending campaigns. And that's where we'll add automation, aggregated data for how campaigns are working and how users are seeing it. And you'll be able to download actually the data if you want to maybe analyze it yourself as well. Right now, since at first we had this idea of triggers and contacts as two separate, like individual things to analyze, we created this too. But to understand how campaigns work, we're working on that on our second version. It will be up maybe in, I don't want to say the date because it is going to be recorded, but I want to say like 3 months. We are already showing prototypes to a few users. So it will probably be really soon.
Yeah, I think that will be, I mean, this roadmap of like individual roadmap of each user is like, it's amazing because it gives you like a whole overview of the flow. And well, you could even like make it more like visual with icons for certain specific, but like doing that in an aggregate way with a whole base of a specific kind of user, that will be maybe a game changer for.
Yeah, and we know it's this is one of the things that popped out most, the analytics, because for most email automation tools, it's easy to understand if a certain email is working or even if a certain sequence is working, but not as a whole to a lot of users. And that's what I think will be really powerful. Yeah, I agree completely. I'll actually.
It will be great just to see how.
If you have some sort of product going and you have a few users, I'd love to add you to our, I don't know how to say it, like contact list of beta testers maybe for a new version. If any of you are interested, or someone that's if you're watching this in the future, in the near future, you can write me at pau@palabra.io, and I'll include you in our tests.
Cool, cool. Or I'll just find you on Twitter.
Exactly, you can also find me on.
Cool, cool.
Cool. Thanks, Pablo. Did you have any other questions? Oh, sorry. Did you have any other questions, Pablo?
Oh, well, no, I don't know, but how the pricing works? Does it like, I don't know how the pricing.
It's a monthly subscription, which gives you access. The pricing is for unlimited emails and unlimited contacts. The first plan, the cheapest plan, is the early plan. It's $35 a month, but we have a discount for no-code tools. So if you're using all the tools that I showed, like Sheets, Zapier, Webflow, Bubble, etc., you can access at $15 a month in our landing page. When you go to, actually, I can show you.
So is it like if you had one of these tools within your flow and integrated with Palabra, you'll get the discount?
Actually, just to get the discount, you just have to click here and ask for it, ask nicely, and we'll give it. It only gives you access to no-code tools. And actually, I'll share here the list. Oops, sorry. The only thing that's not allowed in this no-code plan is connecting webhooks directly or connecting to Segment, because that's more for, we're thinking about giving it more to for SaaS companies or something like that. If you have a specific use case, though, we can probably make it work. Here's the list: Webflow, Zapier, all of those.
Cool.
If there's something I'm missing, or we're missing, we'll add it. Like every no-code tool we have, we want to give it at a discounted price, because we know that most no-code projects are starting, and we wanted to give like a more accessible pricing.
Because I was wondering, because say like Zapier, well, obviously they give you a price based on the number of subs that you run per month, right? But like you can't a sub, like they also count like the steps of your process, and they like within their basic plan, you are only to do like a single step subs, like 2 steps, and that's it. But with Palabra, I will understand that you can have multiple actions within your flow.
Exactly. You could keep adding triggers here, as many as you want. The thing with the early plan, it will only allow you to have 4 triggers at the same time turned on. But most of our users, even most complex use cases right now, are like 3 triggers. The only use case that's using so many triggers is our own, is this one, where we're using it for everything. But if you need more than 4 automations.
So those multiple triggers will be like scenarios, like different scenarios, right?
Different actions that trigger emails, like user actions that triggers emails. For example, here for our own users, we have one when they onboard, one when they start a new web workflow, so they turn on the trigger, one when they ask to add another email. These are more like transactional emails, and we give them a link. We thank them when they subscribe with Zapier, and we have a few lead generators here in these marketing videos, which actually I recommend if you have a Bubble app, because it's not easy to have an analytics and trigger emails with Bubble. And here Karen created a few videos showing how. This lead generator also has its own trigger, like every action users make in our website or our app can trigger an email.
Cool.
Great, thank you. And Solomon, did you have any questions? you may just be watching in. That's absolutely fine. I've got a few. Yeah, please butt in though, Suleiman, if you have any questions. Please do. But I just had a couple of questions, if that's all right. So I know it's not really related to the platform per se, but like I'd be interested to know, do you experience higher open rates with the more minimalist, like normal looking email formats as opposed to the sort of MailChimp-esque ones?
That's a good question. Actually, yes, we haven't tried it with our own users. We don't have like more because of I don't know, a personal preference. We don't like to send like HTML image-based emails, but our users are trying. They have like there's one user we have that has 3 emails. 2 are with plain text, and the second is with an HTML that they had before. And the HTML one has a bit of a less deliverability rate, because sometimes the email providers assume that it's spam. And also it works better with people if you're starting, if you're an early stage business of some sort, and you're sending like invites or confirmations. We have heard that this from comments only, but most people that answer our emails are really glad that they're getting it from ourselves. Like they know it's automated. It's not, it doesn't like fool anyone. And besides, it says like send with Palabra and subscribe, blah. But it feels closer, and we have like that user I mentioned, it has more replies to plain text emails. That's why we chose to have everything with plain text. We haven't actually used it for like I'd say like marketing process more than these short lead generators I showed you, but I think we would also do it with plain text. It's been working a lot better. Actually, if you're seeing here a 60% open rate, or let's see something, 62% open rate in an email that's not for our users, but for like the subscribers that are interested in seeing the emails, it's a really good percentage. Like most are like, I think 40% is the industry standard.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. Especially on the deliverability as well, because I more and more seem to be going into spam. So that's really like interesting. And just like lastly, I guess like I know you've got the next iteration, sort of 2.0 in 3 months time ish. But can you tell us a little bit more about that? What that looks like?
I don't have wireframes like here to show you. I don't know really where they are, so it take a lot of time, but I can like give you an idea. Basically what it will be, instead of having separate triggers, you will be able to see automations as parts of actually as an automation that moves people from one step to the next. So instead of, well, it will probably look like some sort of Trello board or something like that, like we are seeing here. But instead of having a condition, a task, and receive, we're going to have the steps needed to complete. For example, in this lead generator I was talking about, we would have like people who left their contact info, people who had the demo, and people who, I don't know, completed the type form. So that we would have 2 separate funnels or flows, we're still choosing the name, which would have 3 or 2, at least 2 steps, like the first one we start with, and the one that is moved through the automation. But could be 3, 4, or 5 steps, that each step gives you an idea of how many users are there. For example, how many users completed this lead generator, and how many of them moved to the demo, and how many of them, I don't know, created and asked us for a service in this example. So we could see the whole And that's what Pablo was talking about. We would be able to see if the strategy is working, if the emails are getting sent correctly, because we will be able to see if how many people are in one step, and if the automations are helping us move people to the next one. So that's coming pretty soon. Actually, I think next week we'll have the new landing page, or maybe the other one. No, I don't think it would be next week, but we'll be working on it really as fast as we can. And there you'll be able to see how the UI will look like, to have a better idea of how it will work.
That sounds great. Yeah, thanks for sort of giving us a bit more of an insight. And sorry, I did say last question last time, but this is the last question. I just, for the benefit of, I guess, people fresh to the tool, so very new to it, and who may be lacking the context and are watching this in the future, in the near future. I can imagine, and I get why it's different, but I can imagine some users, some no-coders sort of saying, hang on a minute, you know, why can't I use, or why shouldn't I just use Zapier for this workflow? It would be great to just hear, like, actually know why they should be using like Palabra for particular use cases.
Great. Well, I have a few answers for that from my own experience sometimes, but also from why we chose to integrate Zapier actually as one of the integrations. With Zapier, you can connect to actually any other email automation tool, or send emails through Gmail directly. That's like the cheapest option, because you'd only pay for Zapier. The problem with this is that first, the deliverability will depend on your account. And if you're using Gmail, you won't be able to send more than, I think, 200 emails a day. And that includes the automated emails, but also any email you send. Like it gets restricted because the automations add up to the number of emails you can send each day. The other thing is that you don't really know, if you use Zapier plus Gmail, how many people received it, opened, clicked. So if you're doing sequences, and if you want to learn from this, it's really hard to do. And the third, and I think most important part, I think, at least in my experience, is that Zapier tends to break a lot, and you have to like go and check if it's working correctly. It happened for me a lot. Maybe, as I said earlier, maybe it's because I'm not a Zapier Power user, but it has this like details that you need to take care of to make sure it works. And with this integration, it's easier to make it work directly.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head. That's great. That's super useful. Cool. Well, that's all questions I've got. I know we're just about to hit like the hour mark. So does anyone else have any quick questions they'd like to ask?
Actually, I have a question for you, if I'm allowed.
Absolutely.
Are you using some sort of automated emails for the projects you're building, or is it something that you're thinking about, maybe with Zapier or something like that?
I'm using personally like MailerLite, so I've sort of run like most of my automations through that. Yeah, that's what I'm using. I'm not sure about the others.
Yeah, so for my new project I'm working on right now, I'm planning to use some, but I haven't really decided on the tool, so this is a good timing for it. And for another project I've done previously, I'm actually using MailChimp and a bit of automation in MailChimp, but wasn't always that happy with it. So
yeah, the thing the reason I was asking is because I think most of the time when we build products, we don't think about how we're going to communicate with people until we have it published, or until we have it like completely done. And I'm thinking that like, if maybe if we're thinking about like getting in touch with users or customers as soon as possible, maybe we should think about this while we're building a product. right? Like think what communication flows are we will want to have, and have that on the UI or on the features that we're going to have integrated as a concept, not just as not merely as a picking a tool, but thinking about like what are the flows that I'd like people to follow through. And that's something I learned actually having our own email automation tool. We haven't thought about the flow like that. So that's something I'm starting to think about that I think will be useful.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. That's a good,
Got it.
definitely a good thing to be looking at.
Thank you.
Pablo, did you? I think I heard your voice, but I wasn't sure. Did you have a question?
Yeah, no, I mean, this AMA has been really great, but I'm very new to the tool, so I was wondering if there were any educational resources or like a support section where I can check with more detail.
Yeah, we're actually pretty short on that area, but what we have done is write a couple of blogs or blog posts here. If you go to the earlier ones are mostly I couldn't get the word, mostly tutorials. So you'll see how to send blah, blah, blah. And then if you're using Bubble, you can see the set of videos that that I showed a bit earlier. I think they're all accessible via the landing page. If you need anything, if you have any questions, I'd love to like answer it myself. I can like record a really short Loom video or something like that. But since we're mostly like listening to users' need, we don't have that much of educational content yet. We're planning to though. We have just one demo video on YouTube that you can also look for.
Okay. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, I'll definitely be taking a look at those as well. Brilliant. Well, that's it. I think. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time, everyone. Is there any sort of final words you'd like to say before we wrap up, Po?
I just wanted to thank you again for having me. I love meeting people who are making things. I think that's curious and makers are like the future, I think. And I'm really always looking forward to talking to hearing about your ideas, to hearing about the products you're building and what things you need. So you can write me an email anytime you want, and I'll love to like geek out over email automations.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, hopefully catch you guys on Twitter at some point soon. Right,
So
cheers,
I
guys.
think Palabra.io, so you can write us there. I'll actually be the one answering you probably.
Okay. Good to know. Cool. Well, thanks, guys, and have a great week.
Gracias,
Thank you very much.
Pau. Cuídate.
Nice to meet you.